Ladies and gentlemen, children of the Most High, I greet you with the kind of reverence one gives to sacred things. For you, yes, you are sacred. Your name is sacred. And today, I invite you to do something symbolic, something spiritual. Put your name in salt water. There is something ancient about salt water, something sacred. It has healed wounds long before doctors learned to sew skin back together. It has washed the bodies of the broken, cooled the foreheads of the weary, and whispered lullabies to those who had nothing left to give. Salt water is the mother's tear, the grandmother's bath, the ocean's breath. It is the gentle rebuke of nature saying, "Come here, child, let me wash you clean." We don't talk enough about what it means to be made whole again. We speak often of success, of rising, of becoming, but we forget that healing comes before the blooming. Before you can wear your crown, you must wash your wounds. Before you can walk in glory, you must limp through grief. So when I say, I put your name in salt water, I am not offering you superstition. I am offering you sanctification, an act of spiritual reclamation. Because life will stain you, child. It will smear your name with lies, with gossip, with disappointment. It will place your name on lips that were never taught to speak it in love. Some will try to rename you, reduce you, call you out of your given name and into their projections of who you ought to be. And if you're not careful, you'll answer to every label except your own. But not salt water. Salt water knows you. It remembers you before you were broken. It calls you by your true name, the one heaven knows. You see, salt water doesn't just clean the body. It cleans the soul. It is one of God's oldest medicines, a cure without prescription, a balm without cost. When your spirit is tired and your hands feel too heavy to lift, go to the water. Not to escape, but to release. Stand in a river. Sit by the sea. Let the salt kiss your skin and remind you, you have survived. The tears you cried in the night did not fall in vain. The salt from your eyes is the same salt in the ocean. It is not weakness. It is chemistry. It is the divine recipe for resurrection. You've seen women break, haven't you? You've seen them weep into basins of water, scrubbing the sorrow out of clothes and prayers into the seams. That's salt water. That's ritual. That's how pain is passed through the hands and down into the drain. Don't you see? We don't just cry. We cleanse. Even Jesus, before his journey to the cross, went to the water. Even he stepped into the Jordan and let the river declare who he was. This is my Son, in whom I am well pleased. And if the Son of God needed water to mark his identity, why would you be ashamed to do the same? You've walked through fire. But now, child, you must walk through water. Not because you are dirty, but because you are divine. This world has a way of piling on its burdens until you forget who you are. You become tired, tired of smiling, tired of nodding, tired of pretending that your heart isn't sore. And somewhere in that exhaustion, you lose the sound of your own name. That's when you go to the salt water. Draw a bath if you must. Let the warmth hold you like arms that never left. Whisper your name out loud. Say it until it feels like home again. Say it until you remember the woman you were before the betrayal, before the heartbreak, before the silence. Salt water doesn't just wash the outside. It tells the inside, you still belong to something holy. And when you leave that water, you may not be problem-free, but you will be clear. You will be anchored. You will know that you are more than the names they've given you. Oh, beloved, there is a difference between being clean and being made new. You can bathe in perfume and still stink of shame. But one touch of salt water, and suddenly you are reminded you are not the mess they threw at you. You are not the mistake you made in 2005. You are not the one who got left, lied to, walked over. No. You are the one who rose. You are the one who dared to dip your soul in God's medicine. You are the one who let the tears flow freely, not as a sign of defeat, but as a symbol of surrender. Surrender to healing, to holiness, to holiness. So put your name in salt water. Write it with your heart. Speak it with reverence. Let the salt carry away the shame, the guilt, the unspoken sorrows. Let it baptize you in truth. You are not broken beyond repair. You are being restored. And when you rise from that water, rise with grace. Rise with memory. Rise with power. Because salt water has never forgotten you, and neither has God. They gave you a name. Maybe your mama whispered it in pain and hope. Maybe your grandmother repeated it in prayer. Maybe it came from the Bible, or maybe it was stitched from dreams and survival. But however it came, your name is not just a label. It is a legacy, a melody, a fingerprint of your very being. Your name is the first gift, before the shoes, before the books, before the breath even. It is the sound that follows you, calls you, cradles you through the days and nights. Let me tell you something true. Your name carries weight. Not the kind of weight that burdens, but the kind that roots, the kind that says, I was here. I am worthy. I matter. There are some people who will never say your name right, not because they can't, but because they won't. They will twist it, mock it, shorten it to make themselves more comfortable. Don't you let them. Don't you let the world cut pieces from you just to fit their mouth. No, your name is not a mistake. It is not too long. It is not too different. It is not too black, too foreign, too bold. It is exactly what it was meant to be. Your name is your mother's story and your father's dream. It is your ancestors' chant carried through blood and breath. It is the poem you've been trying to live into ever since you learned how to speak. Now, there are times when life will try to rename you. They'll call you less than. They'll call you angry, difficult, too much. They'll give you names like failure, divorcee, unemployed, unwanted. But just because they call you by those names doesn't mean they know who you are. You are not the name the world gave you in its fear and ignorance. You are the name heaven whispered before your soul met flesh. You see, in the beginning, the Creator named the stars. And still, not one of them shines as brightly as the light behind your name. Your name holds stories, both spoken and silent. It holds every time you were chosen, every time you were rejected, every time you dared to begin again, every time you cried out and nobody answered, except the God who called you by name. Now let me ask you something. Do you answer to your pain? Or do you answer to your promise? Do you answer to, not enough? Or do you answer to, child of purpose? Because names are more than syllables, child. Names are assignments. And your assignment is not small. Your name walks into the room before you do. And if you carry it with shame, the world will echo that shame right back at you. But if you carry it with honor, with gratitude, with the kind of quiet strength that doesn't need applause, then even your enemies will have to respect it. I've learned that every name has a sound that stirs the spirit. And when you begin to love your name, when you speak it without apology, you begin to heal. You begin to reclaim. Because what is taken from us first is often our identity. That's how they conquer, by making us forget. Forget who we are. Forget who we are. Forget who we could be. But oh, when you remember, when you stand tall and say, this is who I am, this is my name, that's when your soul begins to sing again. There is power in saying your name out loud, in hearing it in your own voice, in speaking it over yourself like a blessing. You say it and you remember. I am not what they did to me. I am not who they said I was. I am who God called me to be. You are not an accident. You are anointed. You are not forgotten. You are formed in sacred intention. I want you to go home, look in the mirror, and call your name like you are calling on God. Call it with reverence. Call it with joy. Call it like a grandmother calls a child in from the rain, gentle but firm. Say it until the pain breaks. Say it until the shame fades. Say it until you believe that your name belongs in places of honor, in books, in rooms of power, on the lips of the righteous. And when you meet another soul on the road of life, ask them their name. Say it with love. Say it like it matters, because it does. Names are holy. That's why even God told Moses, I am that I am. Even the divine carried a name. So don't you ever believe that yours is less important. And if they try to bury your name beneath lies, let your truth rise like thunder. If they try to erase your name from the history books, write it again, etch it in stone, sing it in song, teach it to your children, because your name, beloved, is not just who you are. It is who you survive to become. It is your fire. It is your fragrance. It is your final word when the world has tried to silence you. So speak your name with pride. Carry it like royalty. Wear it like armor. Hold it like a prayer. Because when your days are done and your body has returned to dust, your name, yes, your name, will still be spoken by those you loved and lifted. And that, my dear, is a legacy no one can steal. There are times in this life when the world will try to stain you. Not with mud or with blood, no, but with words, with glances, with silence, with shame. They will take your name, so lovingly given, and drag it through places you never even visited. They will associate it with mistakes you've never made, call you out of it, twist it, pronounce it wrong not just with their tongues, but with their intentions. But child, there is a way to cleanse what has been dirtied, to bless what the world has tried to curse. You've got to put your name in salt water.
Yes.
Salt water. Because salt water remembers what we forget. It remembers how to heal. It remembers the ancient rhythm of survival. It remembers the tears of our mothers. It remembers the sweat of our labor. It remembers the ocean that carried us, sometimes away, sometimes toward home. Salt water is sacred. It don't just clean the outside. It soaks into the soul. It speaks in hushes and waves, in tides and crashes, telling you that your pain is real, but so is your power. There are some things soap can't wash away. Soap don't speak to the spirit, but salt water, it baptizes. It doesn't ask you what you've done. It just receives you. Put your name in salt water, child. That means take yourself back. Not the you they see, but the you remember, the one before the heartbreak. The one before they called you failure, or too loud, or not enough. The one that used to dream without apology. The one that still whispers in your quiet moments. You see, when you write your name on paper, that's ink. When you write your name in salt water, that's intention. You are declaring, this name belongs to someone who has survived. This name belongs to someone who deserves peace. This name will not be tarnished by anyone's lies, not even my own. And oh, don't think salt water is only in the oceans. Salt water is in your tears too. Yes, darling, cry. Let the salt leave your eyes and touch your skin like a blessing. There's no shame in mourning what was taken, what was broken, what was never given. But let your tears not just be about sorrow. Let them be about release. Let them be about cleansing. Let them be about saying, I am still here, and I will not carry this bitterness any longer. Bitterness is too heavy a burden for a soul designed to soar. Let it go into the salt water. Let it dissolve, let it break down, let it scatter into the sea of what no longer belongs to you. And child, hear me now. There is power in reclaiming your name in front of your enemies. Not out of spite, but out of truth. When they call you by your pain, respond with your purpose. When they try to remind you of who you were, gently tell them who you are. Say it plain. Say it proud. Say it like the waves say the shore's name every morning, without hesitation. Sometimes you'll have to put your name in salt water more than once. This world is relentless with its judgments. But so are you with your grace. You'll go back to the river, to the ocean. You'll dip your heart in again and again. And each time you'll come back with a little more clarity, a little more courage, a little more compassion for yourself. You're not just cleaning your name. You're cleansing the stories that got stuck to it. Yes, some people will always want to remember you as the person who failed, the one who fell, the one who lost. But you are not obligated to live under their definition of you. No, beloved, you get to reintroduce yourself, not just to them, but to yourself. There is something holy about declaring, "This is who I am now." There is something divine about refusing to let shame write your story. Put your name in salt water and feel the sting. Yes, it may sting, because healing always does. But don't fear the sting. It means the wound is being tended to. It means you are no longer pretending it doesn't exist. You are no longer numbing yourself to survive. You are surviving with your whole heart intact. And when you rise, because you will rise, you'll rise with a name that's been cleansed by sacred hands. Not man's hands, God's hands. You'll carry yourself like someone who's been kissed by the sea, held by the waves, rocked to sleep by the same water that once tried to drown you. You'll walk into rooms with your head high, because your name has been purified, not because you're perfect, but because you're free. You've chosen truth over image. You've chosen healing over hiding. You've chosen to believe that your name, yes, your name, deserves to be spoken with reverence. And when the day comes that someone says your name with love, with honor, with recognition of your journey, you'll know it wasn't luck. It was the result of all those sacred washings, all those private moments of reclamation, all those times you whispered to yourself, "I am not broken, I am becoming." So go ahead, stand by the ocean, stand by the river, stand in your shower if you have to. Say your name, write it in the air, speak it to the sky, and then let the salt water carry the rest away. Because you, dear one, were always worth remembering. You were always worth healing. And your name was always worthy of being said with love. There is something profoundly holy about surrender. Not the kind the world teaches us, where giving up means giving in, where letting go is seen as defeat. No, I speak of a surrender that is drenched in wisdom, that leans on faith. A surrender that says, I will not wrestle with what I cannot control. I will place it in God's hands. See, the trouble with many of us is that we try to carry what was never ours to hold. We try to fix what's already broken beyond our human repair. We think our hands can mold destiny like clay. But child, destiny doesn't answer to fear. It listens to obedience. It responds to trust. There is a grace in loosening your grip, a strength in saying, Lord, I don't understand it, but I trust you. That is not weakness. That is not laziness. That is the might of a soul that knows God sees the whole path while we stumble through the dust. You have prayed. You have fasted. You have cried silent tears into your pillow at night. You've held on tighter than your knuckles could bear, and still, the storm rages, the door stays shut, the answer don't come. Darling, maybe it's time. Time to do the hardest thing your spirit will ever do. Maybe it's time to say, God, I give this to you. There is a peace that falls when you finally release it. When you lay your burdens not just at the altar on Sunday, but at His feet in your daily life, there is peace in the posture of release. It is in that letting go that your soul exhales. In that surrender, your name no longer carries the weight of performance, of perfection, of pleasing people. You were never meant to be the Savior. You were meant to be saved. Let God be God. Let Him hold what's too heavy for you. Let Him fight battles that wear your spirit thin. Let Him open doors that your knocking cannot shake. Let Him love the people you're trying so hard to fix. Let go. It's not giving up. It's giving over. People will tell you to push harder, grind more, never sleep. But what do they know of the deep rest found only in God? What do they know of a heart that trusts so fully that it sleeps through the storm, knowing the Master is in the boat? Child, there are things your effort cannot fix. There are doors only faith can open. There are wounds only divine love can heal. And there are prayers God answers not when you're striving, but when you're still. Still enough to hear the whisper, I've got this. Still enough to stop trying to perform and start believing again. Still enough to say, Lord, have your way. You see, the world don't teach surrender. It teaches hustle, control, self-made empires. But baby, everything built without God's hand will eventually fall. But what he builds, it stands. So you've got to ask yourself, is what I'm holding on to building me up or breaking me down? Sometimes we cling to relationships that deplete us, to plans that detour us, to fears that cage us. And all the while, God is whispering, give it to me. I have something better, but you've got to make space. Faith is not just believing that God exists. It's believing he is good, even when the answer is no, even when the door stays shut, even when the dream dies, because God don't kill dreams to punish you. He lets some dreams die so better ones can live. Dreams aligned with your purpose. Dreams that don't drain your soul but fulfill it. Letting go doesn't mean you failed. It means you finally trusted enough to stop playing God and let the true God lead. And oh, what a feeling when you finally surrender. When you stop sending texts to people who don't answer. When you stop begging for love in places love don't live. When you stop trying to prove your worth in rooms that were never meant to hold your glory. That kind of surrender. That's where you find your freedom. You start to walk differently. Not rushed but rooted. Not desperate but discerning. Not anxious but assured. Because when you know God's got it, you don't have to grasp at what he's already holding. Sometimes the most powerful prayer you'll ever pray is, Lord, I trust you. No explanation, no timeline, just trust. And I know it ain't easy. Because the flesh wants to fix it, wants to pick the scab before the wound has healed, wants to control what can only be cured by divine timing. But healing is often in the waiting. Breakthrough is often in the stillness. And child, don't confuse delay with denial. Sometimes God says, wait, because the blessing ain't ready. Or because you're not. He don't want to give you something that your character can't sustain. He don't want to open a door that pride will push shut. He don't want you to walk into a promise unprepared. So trust the pause, honor the quiet, rest in the unknowing, put your name in the hands of God and walk away from the worry. Say, this name is too precious to be handled by fear. Say, this name is no longer tied to things that don't love me. Say, this name belongs to the one who formed me before I knew myself. And when you do, you will feel a lightness, not because the world changed, but because you did. You gave up the illusion of control. You stopped trying to bend the world to your will and bowed to a greater one. That kind of peace can't be taught. It has to be lived. And when others ask, why aren't you worried? You'll smile and say, because I gave it to God. And he never fails. So let go, beloved. Let go of the fear. Let go of the need to have all the answers. Let go of the burden of fixing it all. You've carried it long enough. Now it's time to rest. Now it's time to trust. Now it's time to let the salt water cleanse not just your name, but your need to carry what was never yours. Because when God holds your name, no enemy can stain it. No storm can sink it. No lie can bury it. You are held, and you are free. There comes a moment in every soul's journey when we must choose to rise. Rise from the ashes of disappointment. Rise from the betrayal of trusted friends. Rise from the wounds that festered quietly behind practiced smiles and Sunday morning praise. Yes, child, there comes a sacred moment when you have to decide. Do I remain buried in this sorrow, or do I rise with dignity and power, like the sun lifting her face after a long dark night? And rise you must, because you were never meant to stay broken. You were never designed to carry shame as your inheritance, nor to let failure speak louder than your faith. There is something in you, deep, divine, and unshakable, that calls you to ascend. Something that says, you have dwelled long enough in this valley. Come higher. You see, healing is not just about mending of flesh or the quieting of pain. It's about resurrection. It's about standing up again when the world expected you to stay bowed. It's about dancing barefoot on the graves of what tried to bury you, laughing. Not in denial, but in defiance. Because you survived. And you didn't survive just to exist. You didn't pull breath into your lungs through the thick fog of sorrow just to crawl through life. No, baby. You were made to thrive. You were made to show the world what redemption looks like, what grace looks like on black skin, on womanhood, on poverty turned purpose, on silence turned song. You are a living testimony, not just of what you've endured, but of who God is when the bottom falls out. And oh, let me tell you, there is glory in that. To walk through the fire and not smell like smoke is a miracle. To weep at midnight and still have a praise on your lips by morning. That's deliverance. To hold your head high when life has bowed your body low. That's divine strength, honey. So don't let the world rush your healing. Don't let folk with shallow love and hollow wisdom tell you when to move on. Healing ain't a straight road. It's a winding path with valleys and mountaintops, with silence and shouting, with rest and resistance. Some days you will feel mighty. Other days you will feel like you're moving through mud. That's all right. That's holy too. Because healing is not always loud. Sometimes it is the quiet decision to love yourself in the middle of the mess. To show up for yourself even when no one else does. To put on your clothes, make your tea, and whisper to the mirror, "You're still here, baby," and that's enough. There is no shame in the scars. Let them speak. Let them tell your story, not of defeat, but of divine endurance. Because what didn't kill you made space for a deeper version of you to be born. Let go of who you were before the hurt. That version of you was innocent, yes, but not yet wise. This version of you, this you has fire in her bones. This you walks with God even when the map is torn. This you knows the value of a quiet heart and the power of discernment. Don't let anyone shame your healing process. Not family, not friends, not the church, especially not yourself. You are not late. You are not broken beyond repair. You are not too much. You are just a woman rising, layer by layer, prayer by prayer. Let the tears fall if they must. Let the laughter return when it's ready. Let the silence cradle you like a hymn. All of it is healing. All of it is holy. There is no single way to rise. Some rise on their knees. Some rise with a scream. Some rise in song. Some rise in silence. However you choose to rise, just know this. God is with you in every trembling step. And oh, He delights in your rising. Because when you rise, you reflect Him. When you choose joy after mourning, hope after heartbreak, courage after chaos, you become living proof that resurrection isn't just for Easter Sunday. It's for every daughter of God who refuses to stay buried in pain. So rise, beloved. Rise with your story. Rise with your scars. Rise with your truth. Don't let bitterness become your brand. Don't let hurt rewrite your heart. Take the lessons, but leave the chains. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become in the aftermath. And let me tell you, what you're becoming is breathtaking. You are becoming a woman with roots so deep that no storm can shake her. You are becoming a woman whose light shines brighter because of the nights she's walked through. You are becoming the kind of woman who knows her worth isn't tied to her status, her titles, or who chooses to stay. You are becoming a sanctuary, a safe place for yourself, a sacred space for grace. Let them watch, let them wonder, let them whisper. You're not here to prove anything. You're here to rise, and when you do, carry others with you. Speak life into those still lying among the ruins. Remind them that broken is not the end, that heartbreak is not a home but a hallway, that healing is not a destination, but a daily decision. You are the evidence that healing is possible, that joy can return, that strength can be rebuilt, that love, real, gentle, unconditional love, can bloom again in the soil of sorrow. So rise, daughter of dust and divinity. Rise with the salt of your tears still on your face. Rise even if your legs shake. Rise with scripture on your lips and fire in your soul. You are not a victim of your story. You are the victor. And baby, there ain't no power in hell that can keep down a woman who's been kissed by the grace of God and told, "Get up, child. It's time, rise."